Hello, one and all, and welcome to another exciting episode of Spirit Sessions of View of the Light, where today we get to meet Teresa Klan and have a wonderful and inspiring conversation with her. However, we also have Brittany with us from Sacred Yen. See, if I don't write this stuff down, I never remember it when we're doing this. It's from Sacred Yen. Brittany, where are you from? Can you say?
Sacred Yen Secret.
Secrets. That's the word I was trying to get. We got Brittany here with us today, and we have Rhonda from Cerulean Forest Reiki. Is that close?
Yeah, close enough.
and then there's me. I'm sorry. No. Welcome, everybody. We're so glad. And Rhonda has some information about Teresa, our guest today. Rhonda, will you tell us where you previously met her?
Teresa, well, we met in Andromeda thousands and thousands of years ago, I'm pretty sure. But in 2020, I got to go to Mount Shasta. You've probably heard that. And I was on a retreat with Emily Harrison and Teresa Klan. Yay! So another fellow Canadian. And we traveled from Vancouver down to San Francisco, and then San Francisco to Reno, and then all the way up to Mount Shasta, which was a wonderful trip. And we had lots of wonderful times there. And it was very interesting. And I've met Teresa since there. When I go out to the West Coast, she lives not too far from my daughter in Victoria. So we've connected there a few times. And I'm so glad to have her on again, because somebody was asking me about Heartmath. And I said, well, I know somebody who has Heartmath. And then I thought, well, I think then apparently we should have somebody talk about Heartmath on here. But before I ask Teresa to tell us all about Heartmath and what it's all about and how it can help us move forward, Teresa, would you mind? Teresa also does this. She's a wonderful tarot and oracle card reader. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and then sharing the card for the week for the collective?
I would love to, and thank you so much for having me here today, and welcome to everybody that's sharing their precious time with us and joining our live broadcast and on the replay as well. I have had many spontaneous spiritual experiences my entire life. In the high chair when I was about 4 or 5 years old, and then 6 and 7 years old, and it just kept happening. Wow. Like I got my first tarot deck 48 years ago. So I've been involved in this world my entire life. And I keep evolving, keep taking courses, and just life is full and rich. And I'm very grateful for all the blessings that come just as an emissary of the divine. I did pull a card from Rebecca Campbell's Healing Waters Oracle. She's one of my faves. If no one knows her, she's got lots of free content. And this is the Water Oracle. And the card that I pulled was very apropos because it's the Water Oracle card. So are we synced up or what? Right? Awesome. So this is all about the divine feminine and flow, psychism, being tuned into our truths, maybe even as far as our I am presences, regardless of what's going on around us, because it's always good to know it's available. It's there if we don't get caught up in the distractions. I'll use one word as an umbrella term there, because we remember to hold on to our lights, for everything else is transitory phenomena.
Oh, good God. Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome. I gotta put that down later.
I always post things like I wake up in the morning and it's there, right? Okay. So I make a pretty Canva thing and throw it up on social media.
Oh, how neat.
Oh, yeah. That's lovely. Yeah. And so you're just at Teresa Klan on Facebook, right?
Yeah, Teresa Klan on Facebook, Happy Dolphin with a 0 on Insta, and just teresaklan.com.
And living by the ocean, you have a lot of connection to the ocean, right?
I do. I'm happy and grateful I can walk to work. Where I do in-person private sessions and a little bit of sales floor in one of our local metaphysical shops. And I stop on the way and I commune with the ocean. And she, like water scrying, right? Which that card, suggests we try. And I just check in with her and what's the energies that I need to know to remember. And always 100% accurate. I had no idea of my connection with water until I'm taking Rebecca's Inner Temple Mystery School this year.
Right on.
Yeah.
Just hang on, says hi, Teresa. But now T-dubs, I think it's for Teresa Klan because it's got a dolphin on it. So there. So that's awesome.
Well, I'll say hi. I'm not sure who that is, but hello and hello, dolphin friends. Yes,
definitely. Woo-hoo.
That's so cool. So Teresa, you have taken a lot of courses. You're very knowledgeable, like you say. So you said since you've been in the high chair, you've had things happen. So, and you've been very connected. Was there a time when you weren't connected? Like you kind of disconnected?
Absolutely. And sometimes for years at a time. One of the events, it was a full-on illumination experience when I was very young. And from that point on, I could always see, the God, the sacred within everyone, even if they didn't. So it wasn't within my knowledge that someone would do something to harm me or steal from me or have not pure intentions.
Yeah.
So I engaged with maybe people I shouldn't have, or made decisions that weren't for my best and highest good. So even though that beautiful thing happened, it was like a double-edged sword, and I had a lot of personal healing to do, a lot of it. And I started with what I call the gateway spirituality, like 30 years ago, like like Reiki.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have trained in dozens of different modalities and have natural talents and the gifts that are still developing. And the reason I got into Heartmath was because of my daughter. A handful or two ago of years, we weren't getting along well. And I asked her, well, what can I do to improve our relationship? And she said, and this is a reminder, everyone, never ask a question unless you're prepared for the answer, right? And she said, you have to become a different person.
Oh.
Okay. So how do I do that? I'm missing something. Okay. I'm missing something. How do I find it? Well, let's start with just her and I communicating. Where is the love in our relationship? Where is the heart? And I figured that was a good place to start. And I've known about Heartmath. They formed in 1991. And so I took the Ad Heart training. It helped our relationship. I built on that. And I've taken all the courses I can as not being like a health professional. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a coach. I'm not a, psychiatrist. So I've taken all the training I can. And I love sharing it with people. I tend to include it with all of my sessions because it's quick, simple, and easy. Right? Quick, simple, and easy. And you know what? It's used by hundreds of thousands of people in over 100 different countries, right? And I think it's especially relevant today in this age of separation consciousness, people feeling lonely or alone or being lost and, everything along that ways. And there is a lot of woo out there. And so Heartmath is always emphasized the underpinnings of scientific studies and rigor. Okay. So it appeals to a lot of people who just want something they know works. And it does work. There's so many benefits to it, to doing this. And when we learn about the heart, which has its own intuitive intelligence, so many beautiful things come from it, right? And we're also going to cover a little bit about the connections between people, about emotions, about heart coherence, who could use it, when you might want to use it, and some good questions for contemplation. And also, yay, the 3 steps to the heart lock-in technique. And this is designed for people on the go. It's not meditation. It's taught to sports figures, first responders, Navy SEALs, teachers, nurses, right? So you do it eyes open or closed. Close your eyes, to avoid environmental distractions, right? And we all know that life is best when we give more than taking from it. And so sharing our heart's warmth with others provides us with that fulfillment and knowing we are adding something to the field rather than like adding care, compassion, kindness, generosity, honor, dignity, appreciation. So, what are you contributing to the field? Often it's easy, it's built in to have anger, frustration, worry, doubt, that kind of stuff. And those energies deplete us, they take away from our energies. Where the other ones that I listed that we might label as more positive add to our energies, add to our batteries, our gas tanks, right? So if during the course of our day some challenges come, we don't get tipped into those depleting emotions, or if we do, we don't stay there because we recognize that emotions don't happen to us. We have a choice. We are not victims of our emotions, right? So we could do things that sustain resilience and achieve everything we want to in life, right? And the other thing that's worth mentioning is I could be having a crappy day. If you're in my environment, you will feel that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, absolutely. But if I'm in here experiencing high level heart core values, emotions, and feelings, that gets broadcast into the environment. So it's HeartMath is designed for the individual, but also for communities and the entire planet as a whole, looking at social coherence, right? It's such a beautiful thing to add these qualities, right? So, in a way, deepening our own heart connections is an act of self care and service for others. So, that sounds pretty good, right? The one
That's pretty hard.
HeartMath is complementary. It does not compete or is not contraindicated with anything else. If you're doing like hypnotherapy or acupuncture, you can still do HeartMath, right? It helps you find your true, authentic self and gives you the confidence and security to go out into the world, sharing your essence, sharing your heart, right? Which just improves it for everybody. Even if you don't feel your emotions, you're still affecting other people, right? Other benefits, they improve mental, emotional, and physical self-regulation, improves health, performance, spiritual practices. We become more connected with ourselves and our environments, right? And it also increases our intuitive connections, which I'm sure many of your listeners are interested in that. Our inner knowing, because we gain an inner clarity and something just feels right, because that can be very delicate, very subtle, but you have everything you already need. It's in your heart. It's your portal to that deep knowing, right? And sure, sometimes we mess it up, but at least we know we brought everything we could to our decision making, right? With that, right? And because our heart intelligence, our heart coherence, and I'll define that in a moment, and intuition are all linked together. And heart coherence, it's like an agreement between our heart and our brain and our entire body. It adds more spirit to our existence, to absolutely everything. Heart coherence is generated, triggered by positive emotions, like the few I listed earlier, right? And when we are in that state, we are in what's known as the flow state, where everything just seems to be going better. Our interactions are more harmonious. And there's a carryover effect. If you are in this state and even practice it for a few minutes a day, 5 minutes of being in heart coherence raises your immune system for 5 hours, where a surge of anger or something actually depletes your immune system for 6 hours. Yeah, so yeah, practicing Heartmath, it just, in a way, it uncouples from being triggered. And it has for me. I know it's not false light or fake spirituality or spiritual bypassing. Just as the years go by, I just don't quite have those triggers anymore. And I've done trauma healing and all that as well, right? But I'm just not prone to that. I just don't show up that way anymore, right? And for that, I am very, very grateful. And you can drop in about the heart a little bit. It does create that electromagnetic field, maybe about 3 feet out from where we are. And that field gets imprinted with our emotions and attitudes. Okay. And
the
there's
toroidal, is that the toroidal field? Is that what they call it?
Yes. Yeah, like the donut.
Yeah, like the donut. Okay.
Like the donut. And Heartmath has an app. Let me see if I can find it here. You see the blue one right here with the white cross? That's called the Global Coherence app. And anyone can join it. I think it's free. You don't need any sensor or anything, right? And you get to tap into people all over the planet that are practicing Heartmath. Maybe just drop in for a few minutes, right? And what you do is you put your finger on one of the cameras, and that measures your heart coherence. Because we are completely connected with the planet, right? They've got many magnometers, I think the word is, like put around the world, right? So we add heart to our world, the entire planet. And this is a fabulous time for that, right? Fabulous time for that. Yeah, and of course, we get access to all these. I got a little list here. Allows us to come up with and make more, better, effective life choices when we practice Heartmath techniques. We overcome obstacles which can surprise us. And like, wow, I did that, right? Because when we go here, we tap into the core of our essential selves, bringing out the very best of who we are and those around us. Right? And even though a stress is going on in life, we know we could feel better and choose to interact better. And when we do that, life shows up for us in a different way. Right? And we definitely connect with people more in a more harmonious way. Right? In a more harmonious way. So are there any questions about that so far?
No, it's all good. I love this.
That's quite amazing. I do have a question. Do you have a favorite story or example of someone whose life was transformed by using the heart lock-in technique?
I will use me for that. Okay, that's just the first one that comes to mind, right?
I love that.
Yes, that definitely happens. I didn't realize how much I was depleting my immune system because of my choices that I made, right? And I just kept getting sick and sick and sick. No one around me was sick, but I was sick, right? I would get a cold or something every 2 months, And I was exercising, eating well, doing all this. But what it was is when I got up in the morning, okay, and I started to get ready to, go to work or whatever, I started to rush around. right? I have to do this. Oh, maybe I can sneak that task in. Like, oh, maybe I can start a load of laundry, or, oh, there's emails, or this or that or the other thing. I overwhelmed myself and packed in too much in the morning, being connected with doing, not being. So when I got up in the morning for about 10 minutes, I was pretty healthy. And then I added such stress to my life that, I talked about the immune system. They measured it by this, the saliva, the IgA marker. That's a really important one. I think Greg Braden talks about it as well, right? And so for 6 hours, I would be depleted. I would not have the wherewithal, the composure, the poise, the resilience to deal with whatever came my way. So if I was driving, someone cut me off on the way to work, guess what? Another whap, another dip down.
Oh, I see.
So when I started doing Heartmath, my general health improved. Now I've had sicknesses maybe a few times in the last few years, where normally I would have it a few times every season.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could credit it to is doing Heartmath.
Sweet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Karen Linder is saying good morning, and Melinda said good morning, Teresa. So
Good morning, Soul Star
Hello.
Sisters.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's
Well, maybe time that I could guide everybody through the 3 steps of the heart lock-in technique.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah,
We'd really like that.
Yeah, and Rhonda, were you able to load up the PDF for people so they can refer to it later on?
Yeah, if you go to the descriptions in the YouTube or the Facebook or wherever you're watching this from, it should be in there. But come to the Facebook page. There's a link to the PDF. You can download it to your computer, and you can go over this again with after you've listened. Or if you're listening on your podcast later, you can take your PDF and go through it while you're listening or watching, whichever.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, but it's, like a page of information that, people might find helpful. Okay.
Oh, it's always good. Everybody's a different learner. So reading
Yeah.
the words sometimes while listening to it locks the information in better. So
Yeah.
great.
Absolutely. So this is the heart lock-in technique. Okay. And let's start with the first step. Eyes open or eyes closed. It's up to you. And if you're just starting, you could do this first step maybe for a minute or two once a day, just to build up your muscle. We always want to keep our practices sustainable, right? So focus the attention in the area of the heart. And imagine your breath is flowing in and out through your heart or chest area, breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. Maybe 4 or 5 seconds per in-breath and 4 or 5 seconds for the exhale. Just find an easy rhythm that is comfortable for you. And if it helps, you can put your hand over your heart to recognize and acknowledge it. The little addition, try to find the energy that's in your head descending to the area of your heart and keep your focus there. Just breathe deeply and slowly in a nice steady rhythm that is comfortable for you. And you can just keep practicing this as I will share. This synchronizes your nervous system, especially the automatic nervous system, which influences 90% of the body's systems, so you feel more in sync with yourself. It opens up more of the pathways of communication between the heart, brain, and body. And it creates a balancing type of feeling and harmony by synchronizing the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight, and the parasympathetic nervous system, which is like the feed and breed. And you add heart to your entire physiology as you do this one simple step. So it feels calming, regenerative. It's good for your health, and it reduces any, challenging emotions. Now let's continue on with the second step. This is quick coherence. This is when you add a positive, renewing, regenerative feeling. Okay, so you're still breathing in and out of your heart or chest area, and now activate and sustain a positive, renewing, regenerative feeling, such as appreciation, care, compassion, gratitude, courage, dignity. It could be the love you have for someone, the memory of a happy accomplishment, or just recalling what it's like to be in nature. Just make it easy, sincere, and simple. Please do not force it. And if it's hard to get there, that's fine. Just try feeling calm or at ease, because it's the effort that counts. Okay? And what this does is creates the energetic field environment, that tube torus. It improves and strengthens the connection between your heart, brain, and the rest of your body. It certainly increases your coherence level. And this imprints the energetic field stronger, that is produced by your heart with new information. And that definitely influences the environment that you are in. It adds heart qualities, more order and coherence in a very important and dynamic way. And now the third step is to radiate that feeling first to yourself. Let it expand to every single cell in your body, like you're sitting under a warm sun. And sense the renewal and warmth and beauty of your heart. Now gently radiate it outwards to like the room you are in, to a person you think would benefit from it, to a community you are a part of. Like, let's radiate that out to all of your listeners, wherever they may be in the world. Love, loving kindness, gratitude. There, you can feel that, eh? You can radiate this out to any world situation, any country, the entire planet. And for those that are inclined, radiate it out to our entire Milky Way galaxy, the universe. You can stay here for as long as you want. This is the ideal state to be if you go on the app, the Global Coherence app. Okay, so let's bring it back in a little bit. Bring your attention back to your heart and stay with the feelings, knowing that you have lifted the spirits of others.
Uh-huh. So just by becoming aware of your heart's energy, by just focusing on that, your energy, it just changes, right? Just
Instantly.
by actually, it's just like you don't feel your toes until you think about your toes. You don't feel your heart until you think about your heart. Right. So, and then that's, people are so in their head that they're never in their bodies, and being in your heart.
Yeah, and that's understandable. You know, we hold a lot of trauma and everything. But one part of the brain where this goes to is the amygdala and the thalamus, right? And from the thalamus, it goes to the higher centers of the brain. So this is really good to do if you are undergoing some sort of, trauma healing, right? In fact, there's many different applications for this. If I could sort of, share, like a lot of health professionals use this, like especially nurses, because it increases and maintains resilience, reduces stress, and helps them cope with their jobs, therefore improving patient care, because it helps them maintain the care and the energy that's needed to do their jobs, right?
I have an experience with this. I want to throw in for you. The other night, in the middle of the night, we went to the emergency room because my daughter was having like a panic attack that went on for days and couldn't get the heart to slow down and stuff. And so we went in, and this nurse did her best. Okay, if she had the bedside manner of you, it would have been beautiful. But she's like, "Hey, eyes on me. Look at me. Now go to your happy place. Okay. Now touch your heart. Now breathe slower. Now slower." Slow. Okay, good. And that was her best application of doing this. But I'm just thinking, man, somebody like you there would have totally brought ease into the room,
Ease it. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And demystify it. Again, it's not meditation. So I didn't use a meditation voice, right? I didn't
Yeah,
have to drop
Yeah.
into other dimensions of consciousness and, blah, blah, right? It's
right.
simple. And if many people do this, it increases the heart coherence in the entire environment. They did a study once where they got 4 people together. 3 of them took the training, okay, and knew how to do it. And they sat down at a table. They added another person, a 4th person who didn't have any training. Now, the 3 that did take the training, they did the Heartmath, what we just did. And very quickly, the 4th person synced up with them. Most of them went into heart coherence just on their own, unbidden, because of that, right? So that's really beautiful. That's called the energetic field environment. And if nurses, for instance, share this with their clients, right? They've had studies that proves it helps with heart arrhythmia, diabetes, high blood pressure. My teacher got off blood pressure medications by learning and doing this, right?
Wow.
It helps with anxiety, depression, and asthma. Heartmath is also really helpful and useful to bring into any relationships you have, right? Like with your family, social settings, any interactions with people, right? Because you know how it feels when you're in that zone. Imagine your communications with people, right? So it improves communications. And when we are in, heart coherence, with the flow state, we tap into those creative solutions. So problems aren't insurmountable. They're just something to deal with. That's all, right? And you can expand this out to social coherence, from families to cultures to communities to the entire world, like we did when we radiated it out, right? It's also good for people in the workplace. Fortune 500 companies, a lot of people do this, right? It's now a lot more acceptable. They tend to do it at the beginning of meetings, just for a minute or two, so everyone gets synced up, right? Which is a beautiful thing. They make better decisions, and they experience improved communications, especially with coworkers, and they remain resilient during like pressure of deadlines or challenges or when plans go awry, right? And it inspires more innovation and creativity, which therefore improves the bottom line, like that thing. A lot of professional athletes do it, and NFL Olympians, skydive teams. There's a video on that because it improves the performance, and clarity increases gains, balances emotions, and it builds team spirit, right? It's excellent for It's Melinda just has a comment there.
Yeah, it's just what she needed. Thank you for the reminder. I got a bit lost in the to doing and the fromming. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, toing and froing. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
Because that's like we're all in a blender, right? Like, where am I? And by the way, who am I? Right?
Right.
Yeah. This Heartmath is brilliant for academic settings. We tried to get me to go out to the elementary schools primarily, but the high schools and middle schools too, to teach this just for free on a volunteer basis for the students. But that's impossible to do because of the structure and the time limits. Not able to do it. So I think I'm going to reach out to parent groups and teach parents, and they could share it with their families and all that.
Maybe right? Montessori schools or some schools that are not public schools, more the privately run schools.
In California, when my daughter was in elementary, they had these things that were after school programs that would pop up, and they would like let everybody know about it. And they were all, I think they're called enrichment programs. Mm-hmm. So maybe under the name of an enrichment program or something, you can have like an after school thing for those who sign up.
For those, yeah, but they would still require someone from the school district supervising. Oh. And the one lady that was helping me with this, she used to be on all the local school boards here. So if anyone could make it happen, it would be her. But it just, yeah. Okay. Yeah. But there's a program called Wise Heart, because you can teach this to kids as young as 4 years old. Can you imagine what your life would have been like if we learned this along with the 3 R's? You know?
Yeah.
They find students' behaviors change. They're more receptive. They listen better. They're more open. They have improved test scores, and of course it reduces anxieties so they can take in information and study better, right? A lot of ministers, psychologists, coaches, yoga teachers, so many people teach this, right? Governments, and it does have spiritual applications. You can do it before and after you meditate. You get into that state so much quicker if you don't already have that woven into your, meditation routine, right? And also when you're there, you can recognize when you're dropping out of that state of consciousness that you're wanting. You recognize it more quickly and easily. And because of the practice and the resilience, you're able to get back into your meditative state quicker, right? Like if the phone rings or the dog barks or whatever. So basically it creates that inner stillness to create that inner environment for supporting or advancing your consciousness. And from there, it's, anybody's, wherever. We are limitless beings, and it's time we recognize that. Yep. And there's some suggested times to practice this. For instance, I do it first thing when I wake up in the morning. Dr. Joe, has lots of teachers have, before you get up, before you put your feet on the ground, right? Do this. Why not do the Heartmath, right? The lock-in technique.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's a beautiful way to start your day. So that's what I do. So even, honestly, getting nervous a little bit about this presentation today, right? I was able just to come back. No, I'm fine. So I can enjoy it more. I can be present more. And I'm sure that translates to whomever might be experiencing it as well, compared to what I might have done yesteryear, right? And not done that. You can also do it before you go to sleep. And this is ideal, especially for people with sleep wobbles, or they tend to have nightmares or something. Imagine setting this tone, this frequency, and then drifting off to dreamland, right? Beautiful. You can do this before like important phone calls or communications you have, right? Before you open up your email list, or especially before interacting with something that is going to be challenging, right? Like talking with a certain person, or, a step, reinforcing boundaries or whatever it is you have to do, right? You can do it in the middle of the day if things seem to be going really fast and you're trying to catch up, but we never catch up, right? Just tune back in, right? Because that helps maintain the level that you need to perform your best throughout the day, right? And you don't deplete your energies, right? It helps kind of reboot our systems. That's one way to look at it, right? So it gives you an energetic lift in the moment so you can see better, make better decisions, more discernment, and you just feel more calmed and balanced emotionally, and your day just goes better. You can do this before you see your clients. You can teach your clients this so they could see some of the positive effects as well, right? So please share this, everybody. It's a trademark thing, but this is free, so it's free. So, share it, right? And if there's a life upset of some kind, because these happen, that's part of our world. We're being stimulated to deal with unexpected challenges, right? So if something happens, you've got this in your toolbox. It's easily accessed, and with practice, you get there quicker and quicker, and it becomes more sustained. As I was referring to before, like the immune system gets better, but everything is more harmonized, and your health improves, etc. Right? So that's the carryover effect. You can also do it during transition points of your day, like you're leaving your workplace and you're going home. That can set a really nice tone for engaging with whomever is there, right? Do it between meetings or between phone calls. So those are some ideas. I know there was one man that worked in the CIA, and he used to walk down those long hallways with lots of doorways, right? And for him, every time he walked through a doorway, he used that as a mental trigger to remember to check in. How's his heart coherence doing?
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Right? So I think you can be really creative, and maybe other people would have some ideas about when it would really help them, like before a doctor's appointment or in the dental chair, right?
Well,
Like
in the in an MRI, that would work really well.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. A lot of in the dental chair. That would be good.
So the questions to consider are, when would it best for you to use these techniques? Right? And you can just jot a few notes down or just, contemplate it, right? And consider if you could eliminate some of the emotional choices that deplete you, like anger, frustration, worry, etc., and shift those into ones that renew you, what would your life be like? Imagine, what would your life be like in a week, in a month, in a year? Right? And it takes time to make that shift, but we can do it. You can do it. I've seen it in me. I've seen it in clients. I've heard lots of stories, and I know this works. And they've got the scientific background. Yeah, Melinda, you can absolutely do it before you shovel snow. While you're shoveling snow, just sustain it, right?
And smile.
That helps. And another thing, what would it be like if you could take this feeling forward into your daily interactions with people? Conversations, meetings. How do you think that would help improve the life of those around you?
Because if your vibe is up because of the heart coherence, their vibe is up, right? It affects their vibe. Right?
It's like that ripple effect.
Yeah, it's like a ripple or a domino effect. Absolutely, Brittany. You nailed it there, right? How do you think, it would be like if you shared this or just vibed with this with the people you love and care about, right? How would it improve their lives? How would it impact their lives?
Yeah.
What could that do for them? Because this multiplication effect leads us into a more heart-based, coherent community. And that brings us up again to the global app and building this on a global community. There's a note here, because we are not alone. We are part of the all. And even how I ground is changed. Instead of, connecting with the center of the earth and blah, blah, it's new. Since last summer, I've been observing all the ley lines are expanding and getting wider and wider, and now it's encompassing the whole earth. So when I ground now, I imagine I'm doing now, I'm sitting cross-legged on top of the earth, and I'm connecting with the earth as the whole. And imagine it, the mycelium, the tree roots, we are all connected. So we might as well start acting that way and showing up this way, right? There's an interaction, communication between humanity and the earth itself. And the earth has that tube torus toroidal field as well, right? They have those ultra-sensitive, magnetometers designed to measure the resonant frequencies, the moving fields, the vibrating fields, and the Earth's magnetic fields. And our hearts and brains are operating within those same frequencies, the resonating magnetic fields of the Earth itself. So our heart's magnetic fields couples with the Earth's magnetic fields. So it's a global energetic impact. And we know we are not alone. You do this, you will know you're not alone. And that we are in it all together. So it's more inclusive. Because we know no love that's ever put out in the world is ever wasted, right? So share your heart, your essence, and enjoy the process as you do.
Oh, thank you, Teresa.
That was beautiful.
Super great. Super wonderful. Brittany, what did you think of that when you did that? I want to hear your thoughts on that. If you have any questions for Teresa.
It's kind of crazy because I've been doing it without even realizing I'm doing it. So I've been doing it pretty much since 2021, I want to say. And, but it's like when you connect with your heart's energy, it's warm, it's inviting. It's like sitting out. The best way I can describe it is like sitting outside with a bonfire. And you know how that warmth that it brings you externally, it's like inside. This feels like it's inside, like my heart's on fire. So it feels great.
And Brittany, that doesn't surprise me at all. This is, modern people talk about the heart, but they see it as something like gooey, sentimental, soft. But there's strength there to be had, and you just naturally, intuitively are doing it. And I think some of us are, right? But some of us maybe just need to be reminded about it and be told about some of the beneficial, like the heart benefits and the health benefits and the mental benefits that can come from it.
It's that self-care thing. Go ahead.
I have a question. So all of us here, we get distracted sometimes. We get, distracted with certain things. What advice would you give to someone to help them to remembering to do the Heartmath and such?
Yeah. What I'm asking. I remember back in the day, Louise Hay said, put dots everywhere, like those little office supply circles, right? Mm-hmm. So you have it on the edge of your computer, on your phone. Well, not the phone, but you just have it where you go and look every day, right? So it might just take practice. It's like building a muscle, right? So I would advise people just to be gentle and have compassionate. If this is a new skill set, and it could be for many people that are listening, a lot of people on your audience, is just give yourself permission to learn and to grow with it. And it's kind of like working out. After a couple of weeks or a week or two, you miss it when you go for that walk or that run or that workout routine, right? Mm-hmm. It just naturally becomes woven into our effect, right? Another thing is just now, ahead of time, where do you notice a lack of heart-based qualities or interactions in your life? Make that little bullet list of, the grocery store, or riding the bus or whatever it is that you see a lot of people not vibing with inclusion, right? And then that way you can be prepared and oh, I think this might be a good time for me to do Heartmath, right? Or even if the people are open, just say, hey, I've got something I want to share with you. And it's about just dropping into the heart, right? You can take out all the $5 words, make it simple, right? And then just share it with them. Just dropping here, breathing in and out of the heart in an easy rhythm that is comfortable, maybe a little slower and deeper than usual, right?
Share it with your kids, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I think what else comes to heart with that? Oh, yeah, and by the way, let's do this part. When you're all heart synced up here, ask your heart a question, right? So if you have something that's niggling you or you can't quite figure out, do this technique. Drop in and say, dear heart, what do I need to know to remember to do this? Right? Or what activities do I take part of that I don't realize are actually depleting me? Because we can get hooked into the adrenaline and think we're doing great, right? Like a sugar rush or a caffeine high. Does that
I think that's a great reminder. Yeah, I think that last one really hit it for me, is to, like, ask your heart when you get done doing it, ask yourself those questions, because I think that's really good. I got my answer from all that. So thank you.
Yeah, those distractions can pull us out, right? Or if you're watching something on Netflix and it's slightly disturbing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not spiritual bypassing to go to your heart and activate a positive, renewing, regenerative emotion, right?
Yeah, true. What do you think, T-Dubs?
Oh yeah, I've used it because I follow Greg Braden forever, and then Joe Dispenza and the Three Amigos, and Cryon and stuff, and so that's been a thing that's been a part of me for a while, but I thought it was so exciting with you in person like this, kind of, you know what I mean, right here, in the space and time. So I thought, oh yeah, I'm so excited, and so when I did it, I was feeling all the expansiveness of it, and I let it go, because it's like, we're in a safe environment, let's let it go. And it spread out through the Milky Way and everything, and it felt so good. And then right when we started to bring it back at that moment, I got a message that says, man, a human in heart mind coherence can make a dragon purr. And I thought, well, that's so weird, I'll have to think about that later. But there's something about that harmonics, or whatever resonates away from us. And I didn't know dragons purred either, but that's what I got a message.
Sweet, Teresa. That's sweet.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So yes, everybody, these are just basic steps that you can personalize and make your own and take them out, and you too get to make a dragon purr, right? or help lighten the load for, your children or those around you, right?
Yeah.
It's quick, it works, and it's free.
Yeah.
Like, yay.
Yeah.
I do teach this personally, so people can book me online, or I work at a place called Inwards Market, downtown Victoria, where I do private one-on-one sessions. There's upstairs, there's a nice room there that I call a cozy corner in consciousness, where we can do in-person sessions there too. Because there's a lot more to this, right? This is just a nice, first foray and, dip the toe in, as it were. Because sometimes people need a little help understanding, well, how can I fit this into my life? And there's another handful or two of other techniques as well that build upon this in different ways, or go parallel with this in different ways.
Melinda says her lions are purring as well.
I know.
So yeah,
my little dog's purring.
I know the dogs seem to like it. I came in to visit while we were standing here doing this, so that's great. Now that I feel all warm and sunshiny inside, I get to go outside. See
So
that?
I think
With you?
for me,
Sorry. Can my little dog say hi?
Oh,
There's
hey.
Coda. Hello, Coda. Hello, Coda.
Little Coda Marie. Here she is.
Hello. There's sweetie.
Yeah.
Little lion. She's a little lion.
Oh, I love
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Oh, there we go. And you could do this in the presence of your pets,
Yeah.
your plants, your home, because you're imprinting the environment, remember, right? So, when we talk with our pets, that's telepathy. That's great. And that we usually add a heart quality to that before we begin, right? Animal communications, right?
Yeah.
So I think you're right, Brittany. You shared that. I think a lot of people are just doing this naturally and organically. So
But you've given us a whole way of using it in different ways too. So
Different ways.
be more mindful of it, right?
yeah.
Like be more intentional.
You know what I've tried? I did an experiment a couple of times, you guys. The cat. I'm holding the kitty, and I know the kitty. The kitty purrs. Okay, not that that's coming up again, the purring. No, but the kitty's doing that, and I realized, well, what our hearts are pretty close the way I was holding it. So I start doing the checking with my mind and stuff, and I really felt the cat engage, and then like magic happened. So that's happened a few times where I could sit there. Well, wow, I wonder if that'll work again. And then I do that, and it's like some kind of a super turbo boost. I want to say for where it goes. I'm sure there's probably more I can do with it, but right now I'm just discovering that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, beautiful. Do it connecting with your crystals, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
They'll love it. I mean, they in my experience, my world, they do have consciousness. It's just maybe different than mine and slower, but it's still present, right?
Yeah.
That's so wonderful. We'll have to have you on again. I keep saying this, but I did get you on again. So we'll talk again. And I know there's lots of things coming up for you. So you can just tell us quickly again where we can find you and before we close out for today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rhonda. You could find me at www.teresaklan.com. You can see my name, TeresaKlan.com. Also, Facebook as Teresa Klan, Insta as Happy Dolphin, and the dolphin spelled with a 0, not an O. Also, I'm at Inwards Market at 622 View Street in downtown Victoria for in-person sessions, right? Which are lovely. It's so nice to have in-person sessions.
It is.
And I do a lot of the fairs and local intuitive, events and, happiness and everything like that. So you could also see me out and about at the local fairs that are usually in the South Vancouver Island region. Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. Stay with us afterwards. And we want to say thanks, everybody, for watching. Please share this out to your friend. Check us out on our podcast, which will be on later on today. You can do this again, listening to Teresa's voice, going through her PDF that she's gifted you. It's excellent. Thanks so much for being with us. And you guys have a great week. Bye-bye. I can get this working. Yeah.